Friends, so in the last video we have discussed about the second type of functions. In this video we are going to finish the functions lessons, and hopefully we are going to explain the third type with the best way possible. So let's get started. Now the third type of functions are functions they return a value. Okay, so they are just returning some sort of value. So let's go ahead and see that in action, because it's really hard to explain this in words. So I'm going to define a function, call it for example numbers, like so. Now what it's going to do, this function, what it will do, it will return some value. Okay, now in order for us to declare a function that will return some value, we need here after our parentheses we need to add a colon, then give it the data type of the value that will be returned. So let me show you that. So if I type int, here I must return a value with the type of int, and let me show you that in action. So if I return 8 or 6, this is a valid code. Okay, here we are creating a function that return an int, and here we are returning an integer, right? Now how do I run this code? Well, if I jump here and say cal numbers, okay, and okay, ignore it because this is, let me just check the spelling, and indeed it's matched. So if I click on run, you will see that we are not gonna get anything in the console. The reason behind this is that when we are creating a function that will return something, this value will be stored right here. Okay, we are just going to store it. Okay, so in order for us to access it, I'm gonna print ln whatever going to be returned from this function. Okay, so if I click on run, I will see 6 here on the console, because when you are returning, the return will take the value here and store it in this function right here. Okay, so that's why we need to print the function itself. Now let's take this a bit more. So if I here can create two variables, so I'm going to create int. Oops, I need to give it the, for example, let's go with num1 for simplicity, and num2. Okay, I am going to return num1, okay, multiplied by num2, like so. So this is a valid code, but here we need to give it the values like 5 plus 6, which should lead to 30. Now of course we have a problem, we need to specify. I am just gonna go with int for both of these two friends, so like so. Now this is a combine of the two functions, two type of functions, the third and the second one. We are creating a function of type the third, and the second one does not have a fourth type. Anyways, this function will take a parameters, the number 1 and number 2. It will multiply them and it will return them at the same time. Here we are specify the return value type to be int, and here we are returning an integer. Here we are calling the function and printing at the same line. If we jump over and click on run, we are gonna get 30 indeed. So as you can see, our examples going to be a bit difficult. So trust me, if you take really simple and silly examples, that will not make sense. So I want you to always write really hard and always think about what we are doing. So as you can see, this is really simple examples that we are showing you. It is just to give you a clear idea. So this is a function that take a parameters, do something with them, in this case multiply, and we are going to return them. Very easy. And here we need to specify the type of the value that will be returned, in this case int. If you are returning a string, then here you need to type a string. Okay, if you are returning any source of value, boolean, whatever, we are returning an integer in this case. So this is our example. Hopefully that makes sense. If it's not, do not worry. In the next few videos, once we come to the Android Studio, you will see a lot of examples of these types of functions. This is just a matter of syntax. Okay, I want you to learn the syntax first. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next one.